What that really means is that it gives us the experience on the combat side and actually the experience of training and educating that you won't find anywhere else. I think what most firearms instructors teach is just the fundamentals of marksmanship, where I teach combat marksmanship and the mechanics that go with it with real world scenarios. So the fundamentals of marksmanship is the foundation. You have to have that first. And then once you realize you're getting into combat marksmanship or competitive shooting, you start cutting corners on the fundamentals of marksmanship and start capturing more details on other fundamentals to actually make you into speed shooting or predictable shooting. It would be scenario based. The biggest thing is that civilians, their first step is learning the fundamentals of marksmanship. And then a lot of times they take that and they run with it and leave. I would like us to fully capture and get them through multiple training events to where, like the military, as we do a building block process to build you up from the ground up. The reason I believe that civilians should train to the same standard is because the moment you take the responsibility or ownership of a firearm amongst our population or community, that you now have the responsibility to start training like a professional and being prepared as a professional. Based off my experience in sports, other skill sets, training, anything we think of, is that pistol marksmanship is the most perishable skill set that I've come across so far. Why is that? I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a combination of everything. You got hand and eye coordination, and then you got fine motor skills, and you have gross motor skills all happening at one time. And so you don't stay on top of those things and collaboration those things, they fall apart. Joining the WICS program is what creates that building block process, gives that foundation, and then multiple things that we can stack on or start preparing you for. Every time we take on a new member, we do an assessment, ask them verbally, like, hey, what type of experience do you actually have with firearms and safety? And then we take them to the range and be like, hey, we're gonna start off with a dry firearm, where essentially there's no ammunition involved. I just wanna watch them with their weapons handling or firearms handling and their mechanics, and question them, like, do you know the fundamentals of combat marksmanship? Have they competed? Do they have experience with an academy or another course, so on and so forth? The most common issue I see with beginner shooters is anticipation. That is probably one of the biggest walls that people run into. They see the fundamentals of marksmanship and you're like, oh, I can do this, and they start shooting and they become physically intimidated by their firearm going